delay. Today I'm going to start out doing an entire prep on a car that's been sitting up for a long time. Due to this car having a lot of debris in all the jams, especially out of the hood and the trunk, I'm gonna leave the four doors closed while I prep the hood. I'm gonna prep the hood area, the trunk area, and I'm gonna do the gas lid. Once I get all that prepped and clean and the engine blown off, then I'm going to close the hood down, and then I open up the doors. Before I start this session, I want to talk about safety. I've been doing professional automotive detailing since 1980, and as I detail cars over a period, I learned how to try to cut down on health issues while doing details. Detailing is a physical job. It's a lot more physical than some people give it credit. And it's known for working on your knees, your lower back, and it can work on your hands too, because about every buffer you use is like a vibrator. So you got that vibrator motion in your hands at all times. I won't say, I'm not saying the things I'm gonna talk about for safety is gonna make you detail longer. It's other facts you have to take under consideration, but I feel like it has helped me over the last 30 years when I realized I needed to do things in a more safe way. And here it has been over 40 years and I'm still detailing, and I'm 62 years old. I'm not a detailer that detail supervisor. I'm not a detail manager. I'm actually doing automotive details. So I want to talk about the back brace I got on my back, which help support my back. I have on knee pads under my clothing, just in case I want to kneel down, or when I kneel down. Normally I wouldn't have on snow boots, but the Seattle area got some snow, so I end up wearing my snow boots tomorrow. Okay, another thing I want to point out before I get into the prep part, if you look at these headlights real bad, it's real good, you see that they're damaged. I do headlight restoration, and I'm gonna do one on this car after I get through buffing this car. I'm not sure if the damage of this lens inside the headlight or on the outside of the actual fixture. But if it's on the outside fixture, I'm gonna make the headlight look a whole lot better than what it looks now. So I'm gonna start off by prepping this motor. Like I said, this car been sitting up a long time, and the way it look under the hood, look like it might have been some ropes or something living under the hood. And so I'm gonna degrease this motor down real good. And once I get a certain amount of degrease on, I'm gonna take my detail brush and I'm gonna work it in all these areas to try to free up some of the debris before I pressure wash it. I'm gonna spray this whole engine compartment down. If this was a car that had electrical outlets, let's say like injectors or injector lines all around the motor, I would have covered most of this motor up with plastic. I try my best to be very cautious when I'm doing these motors, and a lot of detailers and a lot of dealerships and even salons suggest that the detailer that detailing the car detail the motor with the car running, because they're afraid that the car might not start up if you leave the car out. Now my belief on that, because I'm also mechanically inclined and I have done some, I would say, stage one recondition of old cars. I'm a Buick man, so I'm talking about the LeSabre, the Riviera, and the Regals. I've also posted some pictures on my EJ detail page showing some of the engine compartments and cars I have reconditioned. So my belief is, once the car is running, especially in cars that's not carbureted, or the injectors are open, because it's on the on position. So you got the car getting a certain amount of gas, a certain amount of air in order for the car to run, right, to run properly. So if you got the car running while you do the motor, in my belief, if you get around the injectors areas too much, you got a better chance of this car not starting up than you do with the engine being off and you running with the engine off, versus running the car. And I've used this method, I would say maybe 28 years I've been out here. Now down south when I was working in Georgia and Alabama doing automotive detail, I used to try to do exactly what the dealership called protocol or whatever. The auto salon, if I was working in an auto salon, do what they call, do things in protocol, the way they want you to do it to try to stop the cut back on liability. But I had an opportunity to run my own detail shop from 95 to 2000. And within that range is when I really started doing the motors with the car out. Not only that, back then they still had a certain amount of carbureted cars, so I would always cover the carburetor and the distributor cap up before I get the engine wet. And I would say my rating for doing it the way I'm doing it, for the car starting up after I get through, I would say I'm batting, and I hate to say this because I don't really want to jig myself today, this is my first time going live, but I would say I'm batting, I want to say 100, but I'll play it safe and say 98, or 98% of the cars that I've used this method with have worked. I haven't had no cars, very little or none, not work using the method I use. And then a lot of the salons and even some of the dealerships, they have airlines. And if you're around a detail place, or be a dealership or salon, or even in your backyard, and you got an airline, if you're not sure this car is gonna start up after you've done the motor, take the damn airline and start blowing around all the injectors, all the areas that you think moisture might get in. Start blowing around those areas. That's what I do. Every dealership and salon I ever worked at, I always wanted to know where the airlines was. And if so, did the airlines work? Because I already have the chances on blowing that motor completely dry with air before I fire the car up. And that just helps secure the car starting more. I know everybody got their own method of detailing. I don't realize how many detailers was out in the world other than the ones that I worked around until I got on social media and started typing in detail on YouTube. And I'm like, wow, man, detail went from people doing it that didn't go to the military after 12 years of school, didn't go to college, and they just want to start doing some kind of detail work to fill their gaps to hopefully find something else to do that they might like doing, and then they find themselves kind of like me, in it for the duration. And then anything that you're doing like that, you have to ask yourself after a period of time, is it really what you want to do? Especially when you start getting older and you haven't done anything else. You got to ask yourself, is there anything you really want to do? Because detail could be having fun. And it was having fun for me. I first started, the first thing I ever cleaned up other than my bedroom was my bicycle. I would take my front and back tire off my bicycle, and I would wax inside the spokes after I clean the bike, wipe the bike down, and get dust and grease off of it. I would wash the spokes, then I wash the frame, not wash the frame, but wash and wax the frame and put the tires back on. And I had one of the cleanest bicycles in the community. And I went from doing bicycles to doing wash job on cars. I didn't get my first car till '79, so it took me to 1979 to get my first car. And that's when I started doing wash and backs on my own car. But before then, I was doing my mother's car. I was helping friends do their car. And at the time, I had no intention on being no DJ, nothing like that. It was just, I wanted to keep my car clean, and I wasn't trying to pay nobody to do it, so that's what I did. Okay, I think I got this engine pretty much degreased down. I'm gonna let the chemical sit a minute, and I'm gonna go hit the trunk down, and I'm gonna spray down the fuel door. Then I'm gonna come back and rinse this stuff off. Now this is gonna be a mess. It's probably gonna be debris slinging everywhere. This is one of the dirtiest motors I've done in a while. Usually you just might have some oil or something, brake fluid or antifreeze that might be on top of the engine. This more grimy like dirt with debris mixed. That's why I think maybe it had rodents under here because it got leaves. I've seen some nuts. So maybe in one time it's full of occupied the car. I don't know how long this car sat up. I don't even know how long the guy had it. That I'm detailing it for. I have no idea. He just told me he bought a car, and I've already cleaned 3 of his cars that he bought, and he had to but I do another detail for him. And with working for this guy's great because he don't put me on a time frame. He know I'm busy, so he let me work his car on my schedule. And because of that, I don't charge him raise because we was helping each other. We working together. They don't interfere with nothing else that I have in plan. That's why I say I can work on this car. Roughly 2 hours a day. And I'm hoping to be able to cover the full prep of this car, right along with stuff in the hood and the front fenders. Not sure. I'm about to see how time goes and how long it actually takes me to get this car prepped. Because like I said before, this car is really pretty dirty and it needs a good prep. Well, when I say dirty, I'm talking about all the jams in the car is pretty damn dirty. It shows all the signs that it's been sitting up for a long time. I've never been a detailer that detail for speed. When I learned how to detail, I learned how to take my time doing a detail. And the last thing I wanted to do is have to go back over something I did before, because I was always told, you ain't got time to do it right the first time, when you have time to do it right. So I try to do it right the first time. And so because of that, I'm not a fast detailer. I go about as fast as I can go to be as accurate as I could possibly be. Now I have my age as a factor, because I'm older now and I'm in the same trade, which is automotive detailing. So I've gotten smarter, more health conscious, and I'm a long way from trying to go fast. So if somebody got a detail they want for me and I can do the detail in oh man, I'm glad I had a backup brush, in an ample amount of time, then I pass. I'll pass before I do a detail on a job that's not a quality detail of my standards, just because I'm trying to meet somebody's timeline. You know, because while you detail a car, things do come up. I've built cars, and I've been building cars ever since 1979. I say I've been detailing since 1980. I only say that for the purpose of I was told if you're not making a living doing what you're doing, or if you're not making money for whatever trade you're doing, your trade is a hobby. So all the other years I did detail, whether I was doing it for my mom, helping my friend clean their car. And when I first started in '74, when I first bought my first bicycle, you might as well say I was doing it for a hobby. In 1980s, the first time somebody paid me to do an automotive detail for them. And to be honest, I didn't even know people paid people to clean cars. I had a guy that I knew, and he saw me one day buffing my car out, and he lived around the corner from me, and he stopped and got out and talked to me, asked me how long I've been buffing cars. I told him I had just started. And I had this old buffer that was a Milwaukee buffer. It felt like one of them shipyard grinding tools you use to do shipyard grinding on like tugboats and ships. It was just that damn heavy. That was one of the heaviest buffers I own today. And he told me that he was working at a dealership and they paid him to clean cars. And I'm like, no kidding? He said, no kidding. He said, money in cleaning cars, you can get paid. I said, you think your job will hire me? And he said, yeah. Come in there and fill out an app and tell him that I told you. His name was Rodney. Rodney said, tell him you know Rodney, and you get hired on, which I ended up doing, and I did get hired on. That was at Grady Druid in Mobile, Alabama, because I'm a born and raised native of Mobile, Alabama. And for those that don't know, Mobile, Alabama actually sits on the Gulf Coast. So I'm a Gulf Coast, not an East Coast, West Coast guy. I'm a Gulf Coast guy. All right, I have covered the areas that I wanted to cover. I've covered the areas I wanted to cover for its prepping. I'm gonna wait to do the door jams. I think I'm gonna start prepping, start getting some of the solution off the car. If I can figure out where I'm at. I'm gonna have to stand back a little bit because, like I said, this car got a lot of debris on it. Let me see. just want to move down, and I'm gonna look at the motor right quick and see if the motor looks as good as I like. I want to mention something else too. When I was talking about safety, to be honest with y'all, I should have on goggles because there's a lot of debris fly off these engines when you're doing the engines or the door jams, and you can't get debris in your face. I have got debris in my face. I've gotten splashes of acid in my face, but those goggles, they fog up a lot, and I can't see worth nothing with the goggles on. So really, I'm taking a chance prepping the motor with no goggles on, but this motor is so dirty, I wouldn't even be able to see what I was doing. It would actually take me longer. You know, so I might say it's better to take a little longer than damage your eyesight, and they're true about that. I've been pretty fortunate to wear something blow back in my face. I've been able to close my eyes or step back to the point where I can avoid it getting in my eyes. So I just wanted to mention that to you. Yes, I done got debris blowback in my eyes. Yes, I should be wearing goggles, but I'm not. So that's what I'm saying that to say it's best to wear goggles as much as possible when you're doing motor and door jams. While you're doing the actual detail work, it's best at least wear the back brace while you're working, and when you're taking a break or whatever, take it off. And I suggest for knee pads, when you're not using, just push them down by your ankle. That's what I do. When I'm not on my knees, I just push them down. Now I'm going to attempt to blow this motor completely dry, like I said earlier. I'm going to blow around all the injectors, all the electrical parts that I can get with the air, reach with the air. And hopefully when I start this car up, when I try to start this car, it start up. Positive, having air to blow around all the moving parts that I got wet when I was degreasing the motor. That's been a real big plus in not having cars, not wanting to. I'm going to go back and try and put some engine dressing on the motor. You got some auto salons and some detail shops. Auto salons and dealerships. You got some that don't believe in dressing motors. Then you got others that do. I'm one of the ones that believe in it. Do I believe in dressing motors? I believe in shining all the vinyl leather with dressing. And I'm not talking thick dressing that collects dust and all that, or a little too greasy. I have my solution that I use to shine motors and door jams. Motor, door panels, the rails on the floorboard, and sometimes Depends on the condition of the seat. If I clean them and they real dull, to the point where they look too clean, and if I feel like the customer might not like it like that, or if this leather looks so clean, but it looks like I need to restore some kind of finish to it to keep it from drying out, I use some leather protection stuff or some type of solution to treat it with. I'm going to step over here because I thought I had anything, but I don't. And I want to get my engine dressing. I'm going to dress the engine, then while dressing it, once I'm through dressing the engine, I'm going to close the hood, let the car run, and then I'm going to do the door jams. Door jams, and then I'm going to do the exhaust pipe, and I'm going to use acid on exhaust pipe. I'm going to use wheel acid on the front grille. The front grille is some cheaper version of chrome, but it do shine up, and it can take acid as long as you don't make it too strong. And it helps clean that supposed to be chrome grille, make it look more shiny and new looking, give it more of a new looking finish. So I'm gonna put wheel acid on that too. And then the rest will be just regular prepping. I'm gonna close this hood, and I'm gonna have my camera person give y'all a real good shot on how bad this paint is. I'm gonna do not only am I just gonna clay bar this car, I'm gonna use, I'm gonna give it an acid wash too, because the paint on this car is real bad. And see, like every bird that wanted to was able to drop their droppings on this car, and the person that owned this car didn't do anything to try to take care of the paint, to put any kind of wax on it where the paint would have a repellent on it to at least not let all the bird droppings penetrate to the paint. Not only that, I see tree sap too. Okay, I'm gonna fire the motor up, and I am going to start doing the door jams. Let's see if this costs off. There we go. Sounds like I could do it before I do the motor. And that's what I wanted. If this motor could talk, it would thank me for doing a good job on cleaning it. All right, next thing is to prep the door jam. I got the motor done. I got the fuel door, and I got the back truck there. Now it's time for me to, and I also prepped the rails right here to get all the moss and stuff out of the rubber piece around the door. Now it's time for me to prep the door jams. Come back and use acid on this grill. But right now I'm using degreasing. I gotta use acid on the grill too. that motor purring. It's running smooth. It would have been real bad. I'm on live for the first time. And I'm talking about not covering the motor or not leaving the car running when I do a motor. And then the car don't start. Wow, man, that would be like a big bumper right there. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. That's kind of something that'll be hard for viewers to grasp, especially if they're not really detail oriented, and they watching this video hoping to learn something from somebody that call themselves a professional and said he's been doing this for 40 years plus and to work at numerous dealerships and salons. That would look pretty bad, even though things do happen. I'm just glad it didn't happen today. So like I said, this is my first time going live. Now you ready to bust this car. I'm going to put a blank across the windshield and I'm going to cover this up with no wax will get in there. A lot of detailers today, and I'm only speaking about the ones I've worked around, they just don't do anything to try to prevent getting waxed on trim and motors. I never understood why you decided to do a job, especially if you're making it your profession. You tell somebody that's what you do for a living. Why would you not one thing about this stuff here, these water blades, and this trim right here, it's flat colored. You get wax on that, if you're not prepared to paint that, to cover the wax stains, you're not going to get the wax stains out. They're going to be permanent stains. I know you could probably use some lacquer, or you could use other chemicals to make it look better. You might even use some type of silicone-based stuff to shine it back up. All that stuff is temporary. Why you gonna have to use something temporary when you take maybe 10 to 20 minutes to take all this out, put a blanket right here that'll cover the water blades and the motor part that's black right here flat, cover this part up. Why not just spend an extra 20 minutes doing that? Then you can feel free to buff like you want to and not get none of the compound on the damn trim piece. Now if you got a car, old school car got enough to chrome, it's not gonna hurt. It's only when the pieces are like this here made of material like this. I've had managers tell me don't leave no signs that he detailed the car other than good professional work. I'm talking about leaving waxing all the cracks, wax around the door handles, wax around the emblems, wax around that front grill over there. He said once you leave that wax, the next person come look at that car, they can tell it's been detailed. But they can tell it's been detailed for other reasons, not just because the car is shiny and maybe the motor shine up and the tires are shine too, but by the after effects of them not taking the time to do something about not messing these up. I have no problem taking up all my motors, all my things. call me old school. They call me old school for two reasons. One, because they know I like driving old school cars. Like I said, cars in the 70s, from 1970 to say 77, and I refer very to any other car, more than Oldsmobile, more than money. I'm a very man. So, I drive old school cars, and because of my method of detail. Before I got my first chance to bump all the detail shops and dealerships I worked at down south, which was in Alabama and Georgia. They paid all detailers that knew how to buff more money. People that did the prep work and the cherry, they got less money because they felt like the buffing was more of a trade and took more of a technique. Instead of doing good, I prep power. I never really liked doing the cherry, but I did interiors and brothers maybe for the first 3 years before I actually started pumping on a regular basis. For example, they might let me bump a car every time, but it wasn't considered my job title. My job title changed once I got to Georgia in the middle of April. From prepping and interior man to exterior buff man. And I tell you, that was a good feeling when I finally graduated. I have been practicing on my own. I've been doing motor details. I've been doing everything I wanted to do to make sure I'm ready when my time comes to be able to do buff jobs for salon on a regular basis or dealership. That way I'll be ready and hopefully I can impress them enough. Like right now I'm spraying the wheel acid that I told you on the grill. I'm gonna let it sit a little bit. I usually spray some degreaser on there on top of the acid just to keep the acid from penetrating the paint and possibly damaging it. Plus, I didn't mix this acid. You never know when you're working at a salon or dealership who pre-mixed the acid. Some people use their acid almost strong. Some people acid are weak. When they make it weak. And some people make it in between. So since I don't be knowing who made the acid, if I didn't make it, then I'll spray some degreaser over the emblem to make sure while the acid is sitting doing its thing, it's sitting on top of the degreaser too. And my chances of damaging the paint is less. Matter of fact, I'm going to go back, get my degreaser, because I'm going to hit the emblems in the back. And I want to make sure I don't leave acid on there too. Okay. To be honest, doing the exterior buff job on this car is going to be harder than doing the whole damn car. But doing the exterior buff, I'm going to be doing the headlights too. But even if I didn't do the headlights, just the exterior buff on this car alone is going to take me a while. Because there's so many methods I could try to make this paint look better And I don't really know which one's gonna work first. I gotta try them. I heard the first two that I basically would do on the car in this condition work. If not, then I gotta pick my brain, figure out what else I wanna do. And I've been in this trade long enough to know when to stop. Back when I first started detailing, I'd be working on paint, sometimes trying to remove scratches. I'm talking about at the time when it wasn't hardly no clear coat cars. It was still just face coat wax, so not wax for paint. Most cars had stage one paint job. And if you fuck too hard on a stage one paint job, you're going to be hitting the front. And I've had that happen, thinking that I could get the scratch from my board. And then I'm having to have that area traced up by body. Hit it one more time, but if you look at the grill, it's shining. I'm going to do the grill one more time. I almost forgot to do the exhaust pipe. I almost forgot to do the exhaust pipe. I didn't use steel wool or something. If the answer don't get it good on you, steel wool and paper. If the wheel has to work for me in all the ways together. All right. Exhaust pipe. Emblem. This emblem too. One on the wheel, then I'm gonna back the car back a little bit, get the other part of the tire. If I wasn't going line 9 times out of 10, I wouldn't even wash this car. I done already did all the door jams. I have the rim done. I've done the motor. This car really don't have no dirt on it, but for the sakes of having the clay bar and get an acid wash, I'm gonna get just enough soap on this car to do that. Matter of fact, I might just use the soapy mitt and wash the front end down with the soapy mitt, then go back over it with the acid and do it like that. I'm not sure how I don't know if I want to saturate the whole car with soap, because back in the days, in the late 70s and 80s, you got a car like this, the old school detailer that was detailing way before me, just say the OG detail guys. They would say, son, that car don't have no mud on it. It got a little dust. Do the rims, do the full prep job on it, including motor. And then after you do that, just wipe the car down or leave the car dusty. Use that dust as another form of compound. Because really compound is like grind up sandpaper mixed with some other chemicals, right? And the grittier the buffing compound is, the more sandpaper is in it. So if you got cutting cream that's not that abrasive, meaning that it's not designed to cut too hard or penetrate through paint, that's like having light dust on your car. That's why a lot of the OG detail guys felt like if the car went muddy or dirty, completely dirty, why even down wash the car? Use that as active ingredient with the cutting cream and hopefully you can bring the paint out more. I done tried it and ever since I tried it, it worked. You just gotta know when to do it and how to do it. You can't do it on the car that's filthy. But this car right here is not really dirty. And the amount of buffing I'm out to do on this car, it's almost like I'm wasting my time. Really washing, give me this car body a complete wash. Because I'm going to buff everything to this car. But before I buff this car, I'm going to clay bar this car, I'm going to acid wash. Anything that you see now on this car, if you was here to fill it, it's going to feel smooth. I'm not saying no burst thing's going to go away. I'm not saying the preset going to go away. I'm not saying that all the acid water spots going to go away. What I'm saying is the paint is going to be smooth and it's going to be ready for me to start my first round or first step of buff. So to be honest, I really don't have to wash outside the back of this car like this. Because I'm going to do a complete buff job on this car. More likely I'm going to end up doing a 3-step method. For those that don't know what the term is 3-step, now they're saying cut and buff, exterior detail. Some people would even say paint protection, not protection, paint correction. For a long time, I didn't know what paint, well, not for a long time, but for a minute I didn't know what paint correction meant because I was used to exterior buff, the words exterior buff, and the words cut and buff. Then all of a sudden I started hearing people say, oh man, I did a paint correction on this car. And I'm like, paint correction? So then I started wondering what they meant. Was it some kind of new form that I didn't know about and I wanted to know? So I went on YouTube, and when I watched the first guy do his paint correction, he was doing a cut and buff, or he was doing exterior detail. So I asked another detailer that's been detailing maybe 30-something years. I say, man, that damn paint correction thing is nothing but a cut and buff, right? He said, yeah, they just changed the name to go with the times. I'm like, wow, man. They go to show the names change, but the method of doing things and stuff like that sometimes stay the same. So I try to remember to say cutting buff, paint correction, or full detail when I talk about doing a full exterior buff on the car. That way, whatever generation you fall in, whatever term they might have used when you use detailing cars, they just use detailing cars, then you'll know what I'm talking about. For a minute, I didn't know what they were talking about. I had to ask somebody. And they had just changed the name. The method didn't change, but what they called it changed. Okay, I'm going to rinse this off, do the wheels, and then it's going to pass the wheel. It's time for me to do, I think I'm going to do a clay bar. After I rinse it, I'm going to go from clay bar to acid wash. And like I said, I'm not going to wash. I'm not going to even wash it just for the sake of the feel. It's old heat. Now, I can also show my videos because I've been doing this over 40 years. I can show you how to do a full detail on the car without even using no soap and water. Not on the outside, I can do a full detail outside, a whole exterior buff job with cleaning the rims and the motors and the door jam without using no water. The builds out there that listen to me talk, ponder on that. See if you can figure out how I did that. got pictures of me doing it. Because I love photos, detail photos. I might just do it. This would have been a car to do it. But it would have took a lot of degreasing, a lot of wheel acid. Without getting the car wet, I'm trying to not get the body wet. Period. To get the rims and the motor clean, but to get the rims clean, I would have had to use acid. To get the motor clean, I would have used degreaser. I just went and used more water to rinse it out. Time for tray bar. And like I said, I am not going to wash this car. I'm just going to take the tray bar, run along with, I could have used soap and water, but I'm not going to use soap and water. I'm going to use, make sure I'm not using the wrong stuff. What I know is in it. I'm going to use what some people call showroom finish, showroom shine. This is not looking right. Excuse me for a second. I'm going to walk over to my workstation and I'm going to get what I know is actually is. Now I'm looking like coming out of that. Some people call this showroom shine. Some people call it snappy shine. It's actually like a liquid wax. I'm going to use this with the clay bar, and I'm going to clay bar the car down. After I clay bar the car down, then I'm going to give it an acid bath. Probably going to acid windows too, just in case the windows got water spots on it. Now, a lot of places are getting away with using the old school, old-fashioned clay. They're using these clay rags. To be honest, no disrespect to clay rags, but I don't like that. They don't seem to go into the paint good enough to take the debris off the paint. I'd rather just do it the old-fashioned way. And I'll let you in on a little secret. Like I said, I've been detailing since '79. I started getting paid in '80 to do details, but I didn't clay bar my first car. Hear me good. I didn't clay bar my first car until 2007, but I started getting paid to detail in 1980. The way we got a car smooth without using clay bar. And we used the wool pad and cutting cream, the old-fashioned way. We buff on it until it got smooth. Then they came out with the clay bar that helped assist you with the buffer. Help you get some of the debris or film or some cases overspray off the body of the car. And I was like, man, I don't have to do that. I can buff a car and get it smooth. So I was working out in Bellevue, Washington at a dealership that sold, I think, 4 lines of cars. They sold Mercedes, Volvo, Porsche, and Audi, right? And their procedure, like I was talking about how you do the motor with the car running, their procedure for all cars, they all, when you do in the outside, in the exterior buff, all cars do clay bar. I told the director that I didn't have to clay bar a car to get the paint smooth. He didn't believe me. He asked me to give him a demonstration. So I told him, I asked him if I gave him a demonstration, would he consider not having me clay bar every car like the procedures say in the employee handbook for details. And he told me he'll consider it. So I pulled out the buffer, pulled out the wool pad. I had my own Makita buffer with me. I had my spur to get my pad all fluffed all out. And I gave him a demonstration on the hood. And I did the hood of a white Mercedes. It was a used car, but it was a white Mercedes, 4-door sedan. And I got through buffing it with that wool pad and that cutting cream. The damn director ran his hand across the paint, and he said, "Man, that is real smooth. I don't believe you was able to do that. I never heard nobody doing that. I never seen nobody do it before. It works." I say, "So do that mean I don't have to clay bar the car?" And he told me, "No, it don't." He said, "The procedure states you use clay bar and you use clay bar." He said, "I'm already letting you do motors without needing the car running." He said, "If I keep on letting you change things, it's going to be almost like this your business instead of our business." And he said that I just wanted to see if you could actually do it. And you could do it. He said, "But always remember, the first car that you stalled out because you didn't leave the motor running, and we have to pay to have technicians work on it." He said, "I hope it be a Porsche, something really expensive, because you're stubborn." He said, "We're going to charge you what we would a customer to get that car to run right. We're not going to even let you have an employee discount because you're not following procedure." And I said, "Okay." I worked for him for a year. I didn't stall out not one car. I didn't have to pay on the car. I want to advise anybody else to do that unless they really believe in their work. And you can believe in yourself and your work and quality of work and your skills and still make a mistake. I just got fortunate. I didn't. But I already had said that the way things are for me, if I stalled out a car, it was going to be a Porsche. And it probably would have cost me a minimum of $500 or more to get it to where it's run right. I just got fortunate. It didn't happen. Like I said, I skipped washing this car for the sakes of time, and it didn't really need to be washed because it wasn't dirty. I don't suggest everybody do that. I'm really doing my first video. Maybe I shouldn't have did it, but I believe in detail being the last result. It's where you started before you did the car and where you end up. There's so many parables in between that you can make a mistake right as long as you don't burn through no paint or fix a car where it's not gonna run. As long as the wreck truck don't have to come get it and take it somewhere, or no mechanic don't have to have it take it to a stall to fix it, then you did all right. As you look at this paint, as I'm clay barring this, you don't see a whole lot of, you don't see no dirt. You don't see dirty water. Look at the color of the soap. Look at the color of the soap. If this color was completely dirty, soap would be brown. This soap is white. That's one of the reasons why I didn't wash this car. because I already knew it wasn't dirty because I could tell by the way it looked. We got a car wash here. Looked like he might have been running it through the car just to get some of the dirt off the body. Then I'm going to go back over it, like I said, and do an acid wash. And the acid wash is going to help with the water spots. It might not take them all out, but it's going to help. And I'm going to do the water spot. It's called a water spot removal. I'm going to do a water spot removal on the whole body and on the windows. Then I'm going to dry the car off, blow the jams out again. Then if time permit me, then I'm going to buff the hood and the front filter if time don't. Second segment of this hopefully will be next Sunday, and I'll keep y'all posted. I don't really like BMW interior, the way it feels, but what I do like is they use something similar to leather. So even though this car got a little water in it when I was prepping it, I'm gonna leave the windows down. By the next time I start on this car gonna be completely dry inside. I'll run the heater for about 30 minutes in this car, put it somewhere where it can run, and the exhaust won't be interfering with what I'm gonna do next. Because like I said, I got to about 10:30 on this car. I don't really know what time it is now, but I'm thinking I'm probably getting close. I'm hoping I get a chance to do some bumping. If I get a minute after I get up and running on my second project, and if I got this car taped up and masked off where I won't mess with the trim, I might even try to squeeze in and do the buffing of the hood and the front fender. But if not, I'll let y'all know. I'll keep you posted. And then next week, worst case scenario, next week, you can watch me do the buff job on the car from start to finish, and I should be able to do the headlights too next week. So right now, I'm running the clay bar over the whole surface of the car. And after that, I'm going to get an acid bath. Another reason why I didn't wash the car, because I'm going to dip my mitt in soapy water. I'm going to pour acid onto the mitt, and I'm going to give the car an acid bath wash. So it's like I would have been washing this car twice if I would have went on and washed it. That's another reason why I didn't wash it. I see a lot of people, I know some of them probably customers, and maybe some new beginner detailers don't know you cannot wax these. Once you put cutting creams on it, you turn white. You either have to replace them or paint them back. But you can take a finishing pad, which is the last step of the buffing technique, finishing pad, and with no cream, you can buff these out and they'll shine. You don't have to put no wax on them. But if you do, you done already damaged them. You got to figure out a way to make them right. And a lot of times people get with this a used car, the detailer that do it, he just leave it like it is. And then with some customers buy it, then they want to know what can you do, and you stop telling them the only thing you can do is cover it up because you don't have the chemicals or the means to make it right. So let's face it, most detail shops don't even cover carry. Oh, you can tell that needs clay bar. By the way it sounds more harsh than any other part of the car. They're not even equipped. And if you get some paint, it might not be the same color this. Even if you get black flat. I don't know if y'all can hear that noise, but it sounds like sandpaper. That means that either odor spray or some kind of debris is on the bottom rocker panel in this car. Because of the way it sounds, I'm going to go back and hit the other side. Make sure I ain't missed nothing. Because that sounds pretty rough. This fender don't sound like that. It sounds like it's supposed to. It's when I'm down at the last rocker on. All right. I'm gonna go back and hit that last rock on the side, make sure I didn't miss anything. Then it'd be time for acid wash. What's good is these wiper blades come up, so it allow me to do the acid wash good. I'm gonna put some soap on the front windshield real good, because when I'm doing the acid wash, the soapy and the acid mixed together, it's gonna fall on this. So to keep from staining it, I'm gonna get it real soapy, so the debris that comes from the windshield will fall on top of the soap. Hopefully doing it that way, it won't damage the motors there. That goes across the good. That's the wiper blade. Now if you hit on the sound like that. So whatever it was, it's just on the other side. That's fine. All right. When I was talking about playground, I was actually talking about this. I didn't see it on the ground. All right. Time for the acid bath. Before the acid bath, so down the bumpers to get an acid something to sit on. So down all the bumpers. Front and back. Next time I go over, I'm gonna have acid in the middle, and I'm gonna wash the car with acid. That's another reason why I'm gonna wash this car, because I knew I was gonna wash it with the acid in it. And like I said, it wasn't dirty. Not like that. All right. I got all the one cold, so doing that, hopefully if the acid drip down, you're not gonna mess up the motor by the wiper blade or mounting the door. All right, acid. I've seen people spray acid onto the body. And that's all right is what you want to do. But I've also seen people leave streaks in the tank because they told to spray the car down with the acid. And as they were steaming on the car, they sat in the area too long, they left runs in the paint. Good possibility you're not going to get the runs out. That's why I'm going to pour my acid, like I'm doing right here, onto my mitt. Now, it would have been nice if I made this acid, but it was pre-mixed. That way I would know how strong, and would give me a better idea on how long I wanted to leave it on the surface of the car. Some acid is so weakly made, that you might have to do an acid wash twice. And that's really wasting a lot of time. Some is so strong, you got to get the acid off right away, off the surface, or it's going to damage it. I don't know which this acid is. So once I get the car completely covered, I am going to come back and start rinsing it out for the sake of maybe this acid is too strong. In the process, I'm hoping I could get rid of the acid water spots that might be on the door windows or the body of the car. All right. Got it going really good right there. I'm not doing this car for speed. I already told myself it's a good possibility I won't get the past prepping this car because of time for my next job will start about 11:15, Pacific Eastern Time, 11 o'clock. So I'm going at a pace that I'm comfortable with and a pace that won't allow me to forget where I'm at and do an accurate job. And that's what it's all about. Like with this acid wash, if I still see water spots, then I'm gonna have to use the buffer try to get the rest out. I'm not going to go back over this car with another acid wash because the paint is damaged. And I don't want to make it worse. So what all I don't get off, I'll try to get it off of my buffer. A good clean wool cutting pad with the cutting compound I got. I can make it look good. You gotta always bear in mind when you're doing a used car. If I had to guess, this car is no more than 2010, maybe 2007, I'm not sure. But I know this for a fact the paint ain't good. Because it's been abused, so I'm not gonna add any damage to the paint. It's not already there. My job is to try to correct stuff. Enhance the paint, not damage the paint. Wow. It's hard to believe I'm 62 years old and I started getting paid to detail cars in 1980. Which I was 19 years old in 1980. A long time. So I'm going to say I grew up in the detail. All right. Let me see. Not sure where I put my spray bottle. But I'll find one after a while. Oh, here we go. I pre-mixed all my chemicals yesterday evening before I left work because I wanted to be ready without having to make any stops to keep running the chemicals. I think I'm going to rinse my hands off. Then I'm going to rinse the soap off, the acid. Then it's time to dry this car off. And at that point, I'll find out what time it is. So I can get an idea on how much more I can do. I'll try my best to remember to rinse the car from the top down to the bottom. That way, I have all the soap coming from the top down to the bottom, being hit the bottom off the rag. That's how I try to do it. Sometimes I get in my zone and I just start spraying water like a kid playing water that ain't used to it. And God knows I'm used to it. This is what I do sometimes. The motor's still running and it sounds fine. I did good. Another car is starting up. There's something else I want to say, only because you never know who's watching the video. Now I might watch it somewhere in the future because it's going to be online. When you've been detailing cars a long time, doing things systematically or detailing in A, B, C, and D order could get very damn boring. So sometimes you have to do things to mix it up. And I started mixing it up a whole lot when I started being at a dealership that had 6 detailers and I made number 7. It might be 2 guys in the wash bay doing a prep and you waiting to get in the wash bay. Okay, you losing time because you getting paid by the job to do this car, but you're not doing the car because you're waiting on them guys to get through. So then you learn to work around them guys. You learn to do things that's going to make your job easier or at least make up for the time. So I'm saying if 2 guys are prepping the car and I can't prep the car because I can't get in, instead of just waiting around not doing nothing, I pull out the mats on the car, I clean the mats, I blow that car completely out, I vacuum clean that car from the driver all the way to the back seat, floorboard. Then if I have time, I'll work on the trunk. I do as much as I can. And if the door jambs ain't that dirty, I'll put some degrease on a rag and I'll wipe out every damn door jam. That way when I get in there, I prep it, I ain't really gotta go back and do the jams again, and I ain't lost no time. I've seen beginner detailers, they don't really care, they don't understand the fundamental of detailing and making up time. Back when you could smoke in dealerships or smoke in public in general, the guy might smoke a cigarette, he might listen to some music, he might eat a lunch, he might go walk off and talk to his friend. But the car's sitting right there, he ain't going nowhere. And if you're getting paid per car, you want to use your time as wisely as possible. So I did this car as much in order as my mind would let me do. Only because I'm the only person in the wash bay, and I got viewers that's gonna look at this. And some people, even non-detailers, if they look at the way I work and I'm not working in a systematic order, they can't understand why I'm working like that. I work like that a lot of times because I've been doing it so long, I gotta mix it up. If not, I would have got tired of doing automotive details a long time ago. But this is not my channel. I'm about to walk over to my ladder and get my channel. That's the channel that's completely destroyed. I'm going to dry this car out. Once I dry it out, I'm going to pull it over my stall and blow it out with air. And hopefully I can turn it off the boot. That's what I want to do. I'm glad about the prep I was able to do on the car. But like I said, I want to bust it. If I see where I take bust it, at least the hood like I want to, I might not attempt it before it, or I might just bust the same to give y'all the demonstration on how I might look. That would be good if I could do that. I can't bust the whole hood if I could just bust the section. And I forgot to get my book out of my life. They got one over there. I guess I'll have to. It's the same brand. But my buffer don't have a lot of miles on it because it's new. And I own about 4 Makita buffers. So I don't have to use this one in my locker at all. I was meaning to get it before I got started. I just forgot. So I might attempt to use their buffer. In my hands, it feels wore out. I don't like using tools that feel wore out. All my tools that start feeling like that, I replace them. I replace them with something new, and I keep the other tools around just in case I need them in the future. I've been on full detail jobs. I had 3 buffers in my car. In the trunk of my car, riding with me when I'm doing the mobile detail, and all 3 stopped working. And to keep me from not being able to finish the job, I'd take the money that the people was gonna pay me for doing the job and go buy another buffer. I never got mad about it because I knew buffers make money. So I like, okay, that's another buffer I got once I get it fixed. That's how I ended up with 4 buffers. Because of that purpose. One stopped working or one was getting old. And I thought it might have been getting a little tired. So I turned around and bought another one. Had that one rebuilt and used it for a backup. I've used force buffers. I use Black BMW, Milwaukee, which was the heaviest buffer I ever picked up. And the Walt, Black BMW, Milwaukee, and some that wasn't name brand period, and Makita. I like the Makita veritable speed buffer more than all of them. The Walt, Black and Decker, and those 2 buffers was veritable speed, just like my Makita, and they're good buffers. I just refer Makita for my own reason. And so all the buffers that are on right now are all Makita. I could take a Makita with messing with the dialing speed, depends on the chemicals and what kind of buffer pads I need to use and what results I'm trying to get from the buffer job. And I can do all I need to do versus somebody selling me these new $1,000 buffers that only last maybe a year if you last that long. All right. I see a little stuff out this damn I didn't get. But better keep this detail up with. Inside of this car will be the most easy part of this whole car. We got leather seats and it's black inside. The hardest part of this car is going to be the headlights and the stereo bus jar. Yeah, I'm gonna have time to buff this hood, at least buff on it. Cause the rest of the car can kind of like dry on its own. One thing about a car that has ground rain and no lights on it, and it's door, it dry fast. Not only does it dry fast, it makes the chassis feel like it's willing to get something, a rough surface, because there's no wax on it. I didn't expect for the acid valve to get none of these spots off the car. Well, let me tell you this. Tree sap, bird droppings. I wasn't looking for the acid wash to get none of that off. I just wanted, if it had water spots, I wanted to take off some of the water spots off the windows and off the body of the car. That's why I gave the acid wash. I knew it was going to take a wool pad with some buckets to get that. So I'm gonna move this car over in my stall, and then I'm gonna set it up to get ready and start buffing at least a part of the hood. I'm gonna back it back over here and get ready. Start buffing on it. Cover underneath the hood. I'm gonna wipe the hood down with lacquer. Just another procedure we do at the dealership I'm working at. I clayballed and gave it an acid wash, but this lacquer, he'll take whatever. If it's in it to burn it out, lacquer take it off. I'm gonna do the whole car, but right now I'm just gonna wipe down the hood with it, and I'm gonna wipe down the trunk. And I'll go back and get the other part later. Man, this paint is really in bad shape. And I really don't want to take the time to go get my own buffer out of the lockers. Just gonna throw me behind. So I am gonna attempt to use, wow, look at that paint. It's in bad shape. All right, I'm gonna wipe the trunk down. Then I'm gonna take off these chemical gloves and put on some more gloves. Yeah, this paint is in bad shape. From nicks to scuff marks that remove paint. But like I said, it's an old car, and this is what you get when you have an old dark car that haven't had any love, any automotive detailing love. All right, I'm gonna have my cameraman shoot how the motor look a little bit. I'm gonna shine it up a little bit more, but that's how it looks now. I'm not quite through with it. We gotta give you a glance on how it looks. I'm gonna spray it one more time. I'm happy with how this motor turned out. First of all, the car started back up after I started it. Second, I got all the grease off of it, at least on the top part of the engine, as far as I could get with the pressure washer and the degreaser. I was able to clean. So that was a plus for me. And with this heat from the motor, it's gonna look better when it dries some more. I can already see the difference. All the trash that was up in there is all gone. You get a customer that got this car that know it's been sitting under a tree and it might have rodents under the hood, they pay stuff like that attention. They want to see how it's gonna look after you clean the motor, because they know how it looks before you clean it. Okay, that's good for now. I'm gonna put these blankets And like I said, for the sake of me not having to go get my own buffer, I'm gonna pick up this wore out Makita and get what I can do before I have to stop. I'm coming down to maybe 30 minutes or less. At least in that length of time, I can get some of the hood buffed on. Give y'all a demonstration of what I'm talking about. For those that don't know, and I know it's a lot of them, I have earned the name, the nickname in the buffing trade since '97. The guys that buffed around me, with me, that I worked around or worked for me when I had my business, I earned the nickname Buff Guard. And instead of saying Buff Guard, they just say BG, the Buff Guard. And they say I could buff so good I should have been a guard. And I say, just a Buff Guard. Just a person that knows how to work the buff. Made a lot of mistakes. And this kind of job, especially buffing cars, practice makes perfect. If you're not willing to learn from your mistakes, if you're not willing to realize you made a mistake and figure out how to not make it again, you're kind of in the wrong trade. The car's going to change. There's going to be times you thought you did what you're supposed to do to pay to get the best results. You might not get the best results, or in the process of trying to get the best results, you might mess something up. You know, it happens to the best of people. Happened to me. Haven't happened to me in a long time, but it's happened when I say a long time, I'm talking about maybe 15 to 20 years. But back when I was making those kind of mistakes, they were driving kind of regular. But that's the price of me learning. And since I didn't know how to buff, and I was learning how to buff, I didn't sacrifice nobody else's car. I used my own car. You know, can't be a problem. Yeah. I'm not going to do that much, just a quick demonstration. I'm going to tape up all the trim, all the black pieces on this car, but not today. I'm just doing the part that I'm going to buff off. I'm going to give y'all a quick demonstration because I need to be ready to sign out soon. Plus my batteries. Tune in, hopefully, to next week. I'll advertise it throughout my new Facebook page, detailing page. And for those who want to see phase 2, then you're welcome to tune in. I'll keep you posted. Something come up, and I'll have to change the dates around. I'll let y'all know. All right. I don't even have my spurs, brother. I don't know where that's at, but get it. I want to say this. There's no way in the world this DA machine is going to do anything to paint that bad. So I am not even attempting to use the DA. And I say anybody that got a car this bad and they damn try to use a DA, I would say first, maybe they experienced, didn't let them know they couldn't use it, or maybe they scared to buff. Because that DA is not going to do what needs to be done in this paint. It's not going to do a fraction. If I had to use a DA to do this guy's car, I wouldn't even do this car. I'm not into it to make myself look bad. I'm at the end of my hurrah in the detail game, and I want to go out like a champ. And going using that DA to try to cut through some paint like this is not going out like a champ. Not in my book. That will make people wonder how long have I really been doing detail. All right, let me get this old raggedy buff. I really don't want to use it, but when you see me next time on my next detail, you'll see me using my newest machine. And pads all right. Welcome to using this rubber, this sorry pad. What you expect to do with all this junk on this pad? I really hate the idea I didn't get my buff out of the lock. Really a no-no for me. But everything has been successful, and this is just going to be a demonstration. Anyway, you get a chance to see how I really get down on the next episode. The next session. This thing's so raggedy, it'll hook the new car to this old raggedy ass thing. That's all right. I'm not gonna do much. Just enough to give y'all a demonstration. Now those headlights, the way I'm gonna do them, I'm gonna go back and use the buffer. I think I do buffing it out. Bear in mind, this is not my buffer. I take better care of my equipment, and but it saves the time, and my battery get low. This is some pretty heavy compound. We got some that's more abrasive, but then you have to ask yourself how abrasive you want to give it paint this old. This is a new class, so you're gonna get dust flying off, wool. See that hammer tilting? Normally I would have started way up there, but like I said, this ain't my buffer. For the sake of time, I'm just gonna do an area that's I can easily reach, because I'm about to get ready to sign off in about 5 or 10 minutes. So, what all I didn't get is what I get in the next section. All right, camera person, come in a little bit closer and get that, and I'm gonna hit it again. Then I'm gonna go over it with a second step. But I just wanna go on it with the first step. And if you look at this and compare to this, if you come over on this way, cameraman, come over this way. Shine right here, and you see how dull it's getting over there? You can see the difference in the paint gloss. You got a gloss here and it's smooth, and then you got a non-gloss over there. This is the area I buff. I stop by right here. Okay, I'm gonna do another little bit area, and then I'm gonna switch over to a second step. I think I am gonna go right there and hit a second step, and then I'm gonna call it goods. Next time I'll do the whole buff job. it's normal for the wool to come off because it's a brand new pad. I have a pad in my bag that's already been broke in that wouldn't let off the next wool. This one is, but I don't really have time to go to my locker and get my bumper bag. So I broke out a new pad. Okay, that's enough for that. I'm gonna wipe it, the dust off, and I'm gonna go back over it with the second step. Like I said. Okay, we're just gonna end it right there and I come back to the second step. That's good, cut off.